Hello, sinners. Welcome in, welcome back to the ancient ass main channel. It's been a while, but I am back. Today, I'm bringing you something a little different, actually. I'm doing Reddit readings. We're on r/am I overreacting today, and we're going to see if we can't try to not overreact to some people possibly overreacting. Basically, the plan for this is we're just going into r/am I overreacting. We're going to read some stories, be a little bit of judge, jury, not so executioner. We're going to read some of the comments, and we're just going to have fun. How I'm doing it, though, I'm going to just scroll through new. There's probably not going to be updates for these stories. For that, I apologize. But I'm going to scroll through, find one that sounds like it's got a good title going, and then we'll read it. Am I the asshole for being mad at my sister for texting my ex? So I broke up with my boyfriend about a week ago because I found out he was cheating on me with multiple girls. I told my sister to keep his Snapchat in case he decided to apologize to me. I wouldn't have accepted the apology, but I wanted to know if he did apologize because I blocked him on everything. I told her not to snap him at all and to just have his Snapchat. But then days later, I found out she was texting him and snapping him. He cheated on me, and she was snapping him. I know I told her not to remove him, but I told her she couldn't snap him, and she was. Because of this, I was like, okay, I'm done. I want you to block him. And she said, fine, whatever. Then she texted him, warning him that she was going to block him. I'm just confused why she would warn him about that. And she also said, I have no idea why my sister is like this. And then he replied and said, okay, well then see ya, dork. Dork feels like a weird one to pull out there. Anywho, and then she didn't even block him. He removed her first, and then she blocked him. I told her that he was flirting with her because calling someone a dork is absolutely flirting, because that's how he would flirt with me before he cheated. That's what I was feeling about the word dork. I seen dork in there, and I was like, oh, that feels... Ooh, double dipping into family. Anywho, she didn't believe me, looked it up, and what do you know? I was right. It was flirting. She said it's not a big deal and that she wanted to tell him she was blocking him because she isn't mean, but he literally cheated on me multiple times. Why would she feel the need to be nice to someone who did that to me? Anyways, am I the asshole? Edit. For context, OP is 16, the ex is 17, and the sister is 15. That is insane. I don't know. I guess it's easy for someone to just like say if someone's cheating, move on, you know? Just don't put yourself through that, especially at 16. You have an entire life ahead of you. I am only a mere decade ahead of this person, but even I know that chances are your relationship at 16, they weren't going to last, you know? Fuck it. I wouldn't even want to change so that way any of the relationships would last, because I like where I'm in. This is a moment to grow, I guess, in a sense. You know, realize what's happened. I don't think you're the asshole. He cheated on you. Your sister is actively getting flirted at with him. It just, I don't know. It seems weird. I don't think you're overreacting at all. I think it's pretty reasonable, but at the same time, everyone here is kind of like really young. No one's going to have their shit figured out. Life's going to happen. Things are going to change. And in the long scheme of it, in the long dick of life, you're probably not going to remember this in the future. You might remember it, but it's not going to weigh much on you. Anywho, let's read some of the comments. We got, honestly, she may have had a thing for him prior to you guys dating. I've definitely known some sisters who fought back in high school over boys and exes and whatnot. I would be annoyed too, but unfortunately, nothing you can do about it. Not overreacting. Shitty behavior from your sister. I wouldn't be shocked if she was flirting back with him and you weren't aware. And OP said, thank you. Okay, this one is kind of funny. You're overreacting. Are you all like 14? I'm 16, my ex is 17, my sister's 15. Clearly, you're all children, and this is all childish. Fucking amazing. Into story number 2. Am I overreacting? My friend reported me to the cops because I failed to respond to her text. Basically, I, 25 female, been distant from my phone for the past week after a family member passed away. Oh fuck. See, I don't want to necessarily read the rest of the body. Well, okay, no, I'm going to read the rest of the body, sorry. But off of that line alone, no, I can understand kind of like closing off when a family member passes, especially if it's someone you're close to. We might figure out who it is later on in the story, but off the rip, no, I could kind of understand taking a little bit, but I could also understand, depending on like your history with your friend and stuff, why they might call the cops if you aren't responding. It's just, God. Let's just continue. I've been planning the funeral and basically dealing with everyone else in my family being useless, a large majority of which I went no contact with. A lot of family that I have not spoken to in years have tried to use this passing as an excuse to force me into speaking with them again, and have been hounding my messages. So last Sunday, I muted all notifications. I have not been checking any platforms or messages for my sanity. Apparently, one of my friends, 24 female, has been trying to message me, which I had not seen. She suffers from mental health issues and is quite an insecure person, so I'm guessing that she felt my lack of response was personal, or thought it had to mean something bad had happened to me. I found out she reported me to the cops to conduct a welfare check after I woke. Note, I sleep naked. To find two strange men in my house who claimed they had a reason to believe I was a threat to myself because she told me I wasn't answering my phone. My biggest issue is that my landlord was also present. He had to grant them access to my apartment. And when he saw my apartment in a mess that I haven't had time to even think about, let alone clean, he handed me a notice of inspection for later this week to make sure I was clean. Otherwise, he's threatened that he'll have to have a professional team in which he will charge me for. I've been so busy, I didn't think to notify people that I would not be present online, and in all honesty, I didn't tell my friends about my loved one dying because I don't see a point in complaining about something when they all have their own issues to deal with. It is none of their business, and they aren't entitled to that information anyway. I'm at a loss for what to do. This ended up being a huge, mortifying invasion of my privacy, which she knows is a boundary of mine. I don't know how to respond because all I feel is anger, and she had the audacity to report me for not answering a few messages for a week, when she herself struggles with the things and isolates herself for weeks on end, and then gets annoyed when my friends and I interfere. I can't tell if I'm overreacting and projecting my grief as anger towards her for being worried about my well-being, even though we have went months without speaking before and have been completely fine. It's hard to tell because, like, you know, your friend, you've said in the body that, like, your friend is insecure and suffers from mental health issues. So they're gonna, you know, care about you. They're gonna think, hey, if this happens to me, it can happen to someone. They went through something happening. They're gone, no contact. I've been trying to get a hold of them. What has happened? I don't even know, because, like, they couldn't have even necessarily gone, like, around to anyone else and got them to contact you, because, like, you had all notifications muted. I don't think you're overreacting. I don't think your friend was overreacting. I think your friend was just doing what they could to take care of you, you know? I don't think anyone is overreacting here. I think you're dealing with loss, and that's going to come out in ways that no one really expects to, you know? Everyone thinks they can handle loss, but each one, it hits different because there's different memories. There's, like, a different chapter of life that closes every time, you know? It's just not something you're ready to deal with, and I don't know. I don't think anyone here is overreacting. I kind of understand both sides, the wanting to just, like, get all the noise out of your head while you're trying to plan stuff, as well as, like, being worried about your friends because they're now, you know, going through that. I don't know. Comment below if I'm an idiot, because half the time I don't know what I'm saying. Yeah, okay, this comment brings up a good point. Not overreacting, this is insane. I also think it's heartbreaking that your landlord can't be understanding. Dealing with death and having to organize all that creates so much stress, and there's a lot for one person to deal with. I'm so sorry you're going through all of this. Yeah, I didn't even address that. The landlord being there and, like, just being like, oh, hey, I know you're going through this hard time now. Fuck you. You want this place clean? Clean up, idiot. You're worried about planning a funeral? Pick up a mop. How about that, bitch? Sorry, I'm getting too into it. OP responded to that, though, with, she's had incidents in the past where my friends have needed to intervene due to the struggles she's had with her mental health. My guess is she was projecting her own thoughts and assuming the worst based off her own behavior, and for some reason she thought this was the best way to go about it. See, and that's what I was saying, like, I can understand where they're coming from. They just kind of, like, think that it's, if it happens to me, it can happen to anyone. And, like, arguably, it can. If it can happen to one person, it can happen to another, yada yada, so on and so forth. But, yeah, it's just, ugh. I don't even know if there's a but to that sentence. Both valid points. This comment said, why didn't she just drive over and see if you were okay? I'd be pissed too. And OP responds to that with, she's on holiday in Europe. So, not overreacting. Sorry this happened. Sounds stressful, but I will inform some people if I'm grieving so that that way they will leave me alone. I can understand the friend's concern though. Your landlord's the worst and all this. OP responded to that. I get that, but at the time I was overwhelmed and I'm not a big sharer anyway. She didn't know my sister and I didn't want to make my friends uncomfortable by telling them or feeling like they had to tiptoe around me. I know that would personally drive me nuts. So it's, I believe, the sister that passed then for OP, which is arguably, like, aside from a parent, if you're really close with your family, a sibling is going to be the worst one to go. Lord help me, I have them both still, but I don't even know how I would begin to even deal with if either of my brothers, like, passed. I don't know. I feel like it would be a very, very long break, you know? That's just the way it is. Okay, interesting. Okay, so we have someone saying a bit overreacting. Have you yourself had mental health issues in the past that this friend was worried about? Maybe she thought something bad had happened to you. OP responded with, I have mental health issues, but not to the extent that not responding for 5 days would be a red flag. I've never expressed any interest in doing anything that would make her think I was a danger to myself, as she told the cops. I've read her text, and she claimed that she had a bad feeling that she couldn't shake and wanted me to respawn ASAP because she hadn't seen me online. Okay, that's, yeah, it kind of harks back to me saying that, like, they're gonna be like, ooh, if it happens to me, but I don't know. I think just take a step back, you know, grieve. You've got to grieve. That's the main thing. Don't worry about your friend for now. Just grieve and then come back to it. And if you at the end of your grieving realize you don't want to come back to it, then don't come back to it. Most important take from this though, punch your landlord right in the fucking gonads for me, please. Into our next story, fresh off the press 2 hours ago. Am I overreacting for backing out of our 4th of July trip after my friends expected me to pay for them? We were supposed to leave for a 4th of July trip weekend. We all agreed from the beginning that we'd split the hotel, gas, and everything else evenly. Now, 2 friends are saying that they're short on money and expect me to cover most of it because I have a good job, a nice house, and a nice car, in their words. They even call me privileged and say that I can afford it more than they can. When I asked when they'd pay me back, all they would say is eventually. I told them I wasn't comfortable with that and backed out. Now they're saying I ruined everyone's holiday plan over a few $100s and that a real friend would have helped. Am I overreacting? No, I don't think you are. Even as, oh God, I'm gonna get eaten alive for saying this. I'm all for taxing the rich, but if you've made your money, it's your money. And by the sounds of it, you're not a fucking millionaire. If you're a millionaire, yeah, you're gonna be like, yeah, me and the boys going on we're going to Italy, going on 4th of July, leaving America. You're not entitled to spend your money on other people. If you spend your money on other people, you are a goddamn saint, and you have like a special place in my heart for like just, you know, going out and treating people. That shit, awesome. But you don't have to do that. If you're working for your money, that's what you do, you know? And I know the job market's hard currently, and saying they should just get a job that pays better doesn't really work. I don't know, man. I think there should have been a lot more like budgeting, I guess, done by them if they were planning this trip. By the sounds of it, it was you guys had planned this trip, and then they were like, hey, I could just get some free shit out of this if I don't plan for it myself. I don't know. I don't think you're overreacting at all. I think your friends are overreacting, calling you privileged, and like basically they said they'd pay you back eventually, but as someone who has paid people back, I don't like using eventually because I feel like eventually is so open-ended that it could be, oh, hey, I didn't have the money that you needed until you got like dead, Lamau. Here's $2 for your fucking coffin. Lol. I don't know what I'm going on about anymore. Anywho, let's read some of the comments. This one says, not overreacting. I would have backed out too. Expecting you to cover everyone because you make more money is not right. Eventually isn't a repayment plan. That's what I'm saying. OP even said, eventually is the part that really got me. Yeah, see, this is why I'm saying you did the right thing. Eventually means never. Oh, that's good. This person quoted now they're saying I ruined everyone's holiday plans over a few $100s and that a real friend would have helped. And they said, ask them, guys, please explain to me how I owe you a trip. These people are not your friends. There's no going back from this. Now you know how they see you. Go scorched earth and find people who are actual friends. Maybe you'll feel better, maybe you not, but they need to hear it. I kind of like that. I seen scorched earth and went, ewy. They're turning you into a cube for the new game. Cubey. Am I overreacting? Hi. Am I overreacting for expecting my boyfriend to wash his hands after using the bathroom before touching my face? No, you're not. What? Dude, hey, love, I just touched my dick. Smack. Sorry. Anyways, hello. I've been with my boyfriend for 13 years. We're both under 30 years old. We do not live together. One day, he went to the bathroom, peed. He came out. As the door was opening, I observed I didn't hear the sink run. He has a bathroom connected to the bedroom, and it was quiet. So I asked him, as kind as I thought I could be, hey, did you wash your hands? He then proceeded to wipe his hands on my face before answering my question, and then said, no. Burn him. Cover him in gasoline and burn him at the stake. This man's a witch with a bee. Jesus Christ, what the fuck? So I looked visibly disgusted, I'm sure, and I can't recall exactly what I said besides something along the lines of, wash your hands, I think that's disgusting. He proceeds to tell me that he didn't touch anything at all. He possibly flipped the lid with his foot, not entirely sure. I'm not there when he pees. Pulled down his pants only, didn't touch his area, and jumped a little at the end, and flushed the toilet with his foot. I need a pause because jumped a little at the end. I know what they mean. Like, I know what they're talking about. Just kind of like the little shuffle that you do, the little dribble dabble, if you will. But I just love picturing the idea of this man whipping out fucking jumping jacks at the end. Just like 5 quick ones. Just fucking washing his piss up the wall. Sorry, we'll continue though. And I said, I'm still uncomfortable because door handles can be touched and pee splatter, etc. I would be just more comfortable if he washed his hands after the bathroom. He then said his hands are clean. He washed them all day long. He has a cat and a pet hamster he cares for that he says requires him to wash his hands a lot. He washes his hands after he cares for them. He continued to try and put his hands on my face through this entire conversation. Done. As I'm literally backing away to try and avoid this, we are standing for the conversation. He has a big bedroom. He then proceeded to say he is logically correct, and this whole reaction I'm having towards this is all in my head, because logically, everything makes sense. Because I agreed, well, if you're claiming you didn't touch anything, then sure, your hands logically should be clean. Am I overreacting for expecting my boyfriend to wash his hands after using the bathroom and refusing to let him touch my face until he did? They threw in an edit here. He is a clean person who showers, brushes his teeth and all. I'm just talking about one specific issue that bothered me. Also, if he poops, yes, he washes his hands. It's just related to this one issue. And then it also goes on to say, just to clarify, this isn't something he does in public. He washes his hands when we're out. This has only happened at home. My issue wasn't that I think he's generally unhygienic. It was that he didn't wash his hands this time and kept trying to touch my face after I said I was uncomfortable. Okay, so if it's not happening outside of that, but I still think in the moment, gun. As a non-American here with no right to bear arm, that man should be shot. I don't know if I can upload this one. Jesus Christ. Okay. Let's read some of the comments because people have to be talking about that. Could you just imagine like taking a piss and like he says he hasn't done anything, but like men tell white lies. Let's be honest. They tell some big lies too. They tell some massive lies. There's some lies. We could get into them. But could you imagine just finished basically fondling his balls and then went, "Oh, you look so fucking nice," and then like caress your chin like you're a fucking cat? All you smell is piss and ball sweat. Okay, anyways, we've got not overreacting, but that isn't even the point. You were telling him how you felt and he disregarded you and made fun of you for it by rubbing his hands on your face as you told him it was gross. This person responded to that with literally rubbing it in her face. What an asshole. And OP responded with, he's a very logical thinker. I was trying to see if I overreacted because there were instances where we don't think the same way. It's harder for me to understand things I like with how he thinks. It seems a little aggressive for me. Someone responded to that with, how many excuses can you make for a man wiping piss on your face? And then OP had responded to that, not quite. I wasn't trying to make excuses. I was trying to be fair because he isn't here to explain his perspective. I wanted to describe his reasoning as accurately as I could. Even if I ultimately disagreed with how he handled the situation, I care about him. I don't think one disagreement defines him, but I also wanted honest opinions about the specific situation. In the specific situation, shoot him. I'm gonna have to fucking flash like it's a joke every time. But overall, this sounds unironically like a really healthy relationship. Like she's trying to be like, hey, this is like his perspective, this is my perspective, this is how he thinks, this is how I think. Can we get some middle ground here? And in this moment, OP, holy shit, your boyfriend's fucking insane. But as a whole, I hope your relationship is happy and healthy because it sounds like it could. Sounds like it could be. This one's great. Girl, what? Not overreacting. You're not reacting enough. Your boyfriend is rancid. Oh my god. On to our final story. Am I overreacting? My 22 female boyfriend, 23 male, keeps inviting his friends over on my only nights off, and I'm at my breaking point. I work 50 hours a week and go to school, so Sunday night is literally the only time I get to just breathe and relax. My boyfriend knows this, but for the past 4 weeks in a row, he's invited 3 or 4 of his friends over to watch sports and play video games in our tiny apartment. They aren't loud neighbors or anything, but they leave trash everywhere, eat the food I prep for my work week, and make me feel like I'm a prisoner in my own bedroom because I don't want to walk out in my pajamas. Last night, I finally snapped at him after they left and he told me I'm being controlling and that this is his apartment too. I feel like I'm losing my mind. Am I crazy for just wanting one night of peace? Ooh, okay. Before I get into any of the comments or anything, I wanna be a good little critical thinking boy and come up with my own opinions here. I don't think you're the asshole. If you're doing 50-hour work weeks, you're doing school, you're doing all that, it sounds like maybe I don't know like what your boyfriend's work or school schedule is like. I don't know what his friends' work or school schedule is like, but goddamn, do they all do what, huh? Do they not have homes? Can he not go over there and give you like a night of peace? Or better yet, maybe, I don't know, Just schedule it for a different day. Oh, is that a bad one? I know sports can't be rescheduled because like, ooh, it's Sunday night football. But motherfucker, there's DVRs. Record that shit if you're so goddamn intense. Or just go out to the bar with your friends. Clear it with her, you know? Be like, hey, is it okay if tonight I give you some peace and quiet, you know? I go do bar night with friends. Or better yet, the best of the case of the scenario, just hang out together, you know? I don't think you're overreacting for this. I think especially 50 hours a week, like what, 8 hours going to school. I don't know, man. I thought there was work involved in this, but like school is still draining because then you're also going home. You have to do like your homework and shit. You got to do your studying. You got to prep. You got to cram. There's all this shit that I didn't do because my brain wasn't developed enough. But like, I don't think it's too far-fetched for them to like go to his friend's apartment instead. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe the comments will be like, hey, actually, you're so fucking stupid for thinking the way you just did. Let's read them. That sounds so frustrating. He could go to their place or invite them over any other night. Also, eating the food you prepped is completely unacceptable. I forgot about the food too. Yeah, you're meal prepping. You're just trying to get by, and they're like, oh, okay. That is okay. Well, that kind of answers that question. My slightly heated, do they not have their own place? I guess get answers. OP responded to that with, actually his two friends are homeless, they live in their cars. And then someone replied to that with, not overreacting, he's doing this on purpose, he does not want to be alone with you on your days off. This comment says, your boyfriend does not appreciate you. You need for rest, you need your recharge before work. So in other words, he has no respect for your basic needs. He is putting down his own needs before you and then shamelessly deceiving you that it is your fault and that you're being controlling. He doesn't respect your job or your needs. The irony is that your job probably supports him and your relationship in meaningful ways, not overreacting. And yeah, honestly, I'm in that boat too. Yeah, he really did say at the bottom, he told her she was being controlling for wanting the one day she has off to actually like have off and not have to like entertain guests or like be locked in a bedroom like fucking what, a wild animal during a party. I don't know. Even then, I don't agree with locking your animals in a room during a fucking party. That's their home. Guests should suck it the fuck up. That being said, though, that's going to be where we call it. Thank you all for tuning in and listening to my not so sultry voice formulate some opinions. I feel like it's been a while since I've done anything like this, and the video may not do good. And it may do good. Who knows? If you enjoy it, maybe like, maybe subscribe. Both let me know that I should do more. And if you don't like it, let me know in the comments. Dislike the video. Those help me describe it too. But this format is going to be a little healthier for me because I'm not just regurgitating like opinions and shit I'm seeing online. I actually got to just take a chance to formulate my own thought before diving into the comments and seeing if maybe I'm the asshole in like the reading situation. That being said, I do hope to catch you guys in the next one. Good night and goodbye.